Thank you. Hello, my name's Jason Long, I'm a stand-up comedian. Although quite often at the moment I'm talking a lot about politics, and so I'm sort of blurring at the moment between being like a comedian and being a woman who is ranting to people who have not asked for it. Which is fun, right? It's good to challenge people. If by challenge you mean bore and stifle. That's not true. I am incredibly pleased to be joining in with collaborating with Ellie Harrison. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how I came to find her work. And so it's sort of more of a talk, but I'll try and fit like jokes in it that I've already got. So that you, otherwise I don't want you guys thinking, what a waste of my time. But then I think, 15 minutes in it. That's what we're going to do about life. So very long. Ages to go through. Otherwise, good. I'm trusting it will come out. Now, what this exhibit is it highlights what has been nationalised and then privatised in this country. You've got the different elements. This one is the best one. This one is healthcare, and when this baby goes on, it doesn't turn off. No. This one, does this turn off? Post? No. Still, but it's sort of vague, sort of half should. And then this way, I need the thing, but I'll bloody put it down. This one, I could just lie about what they all represent. This one represents mushrooms. It's weird, but it just works. No, this one represents... Okay, they should be, I hate them. Thank you, solidarity. This one's telecoms, this one's electricity, this one's gas, and this one's the railways. And when I first saw this exhibition, I saw a video of it online, and it blew my mind as to how little I knew about 20th century politics. Just like this would be stunning as it goes, because what it does is it charts every year in the 20th century, and the colour of it determines who was in government at that time. Red is for the goodies, and blue, I'm joking, they're not the goodies. There's no goodies, hooray! But there were goodies, but only for a brief period between 1946 and 1951. Thank you very much. And in line with that, these massaging chairs come on to highlight when somebody's on Facebook, when these things, telecoms, post, health, railways, gas, electricity, were taken from the private sector into the public sector, and then they stopped massaging when they were privatised. And it's really made me think a lot about how I interpret the world, because I think if you're about my age or a bit younger, we're quite entrenched in quite a right-wing view of the world without even meaning to be. Like, when I think about the fact that this one is it the one I'm talking about? That's health. This guy, electricity, right? When I think about my electricity bills, all I think is like, well, I'm going to be ripped off tonight, that's what they do, they rip people off. And that idea that electricity could have been a thing that the state run, so people who profit from it, who just got what they needed, blows my mind, right? And yet, with healthcare, I'm like, well, that's right, obviously. Also, I pay healthcare, I deserve to be alive tonight, and it's cool. And it also makes me think wider about society as a whole, because, like, schooling, now with changes in funding to schools, like trying to make more free schools, trying to make more academies, it's dodgy ground. It's not really state funded anymore. Like, I was thinking about this thing that I am not well informed enough to bring up, but I will try, about there was a primary school that paid millions of pounds to Carter Ruck, the PR firm, because the people that funded that school, I don't even understand it, but what I'm trying to say to you guys is that everything's fucked. So sit on the health chair. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just feeling time before it starts, but it's going to start in 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. So that's sort of how I've come to it. And the way I feel is, I really idolise the post-war government of 1945. I think they were the greatest, right? Oh, here we go, right, so. And what I can't bear is the fact that everything's been reframed. So that when you say, for example, that there used to be a tax bracket in this country up to the 1970s, that was 95%, right? People are like, that would never happen, that would never happen. But when I hear that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to sit down, I'm so excited. Oh, think of the nurses. We had that now, it would be like Sweden. Think of the maternity leave. 6 years that could go on, 6 years. And people get very worried when you mention that there used to be massive high tax brackets, because they're like, oh, I wouldn't pay that, I'm not going to pay that. And I think, no, none of us would ever pay it, because none of us are going to be super wealthy. We are not Bruno Mars. Okay, so the Liberal government, sorry. It's a sad thing. 1907. Again, who knows that much about the Liberal government? What's being turned on now, really?
Just got the post at the moment.
Just the post at the moment?
Yeah, because that's always been in.
Oh, that is good. Okay, does someone want to come and feel the benefits of having a nationalised postal service? Oh, do you not believe me? Oh yeah, thank you, Lloyd George.
It's just always been in
It's
public
always been in.
ownership, but actually the Queen fully owns it, so it's
Oh,
quite convenient.
I don't know what I feel about that anymore. 1912? Around 1912, everyone's thinking, good we've got a postal service, hope there isn't a massive war soon. That's what I was thinking. And then, you sure nobody wants to, what I'd like ideally is to have people, do you know, I've never done a gig sat on a massage chair before, and there's really good reason for it. Oh my word. There we go. Now, I have a fact about 1970 coming up. So don't we're close to it. The other thing about when I talk about high taxation being beneficial for society, the thing that people don't like is they're like, well, it would never happen. It would never happen. Oh, here we go. Right. Now, in 1917, what I kind of believe, oh, Jesus, give me a break here. What I kind of believe is, especially the millionaires in government, I would love it if all of the millionaires in cabinet, as a gesture of solidarity with everyone else who is suffering from the cuts they're making, with everyone else's quality of living is definitely going down now. What I would like is if they voluntarily gave up all their money to the country. Just a gesture. If they're really concerned about the deficit, they each have millions and millions of pounds. That'd be more than a drop in the ocean. That'd be a good start. And don't worry about them. They get paid later, whatever. They can do whatever they want, right? But give it all up now, right? And if you think that's creepy, in 1917, Stanley Baldwin, who was the Treasury Secretary, voluntarily gave up 20% of his massive wealth. Right? It was really minted. He gave up a fifth of it because he was so concerned about the war and the cost of it. And then he wrote to all the other MPs going, guys, we really need to do this. This is really important. And he was a Tory, so they've got no fucking excuse.